The world of celebrities is a dazzling universe filled with glittering lights, unforgettable music, breathtaking performances, and stories that often read like fairy tales. But behind the stage curtains, flashing cameras, and red carpet smiles lies a much deeper human journey. And one of the most talked about and relatable figures in this world is Justin Bieber. A boy from Stratford, Ontario, who once sang on the steps of a local theater, with nothing but a borrowed guitar and a dream, only to rise into global stardom as one of the most recognized artists of his generation. Yet even as the world celebrated his talent, his success came with pressures, challenges, and personal battles that turned him into not just an entertainer, but also a symbol of resilience. Over the years, Bieber has spoken candidly about his struggles with anxiety, depression, and the pitfalls of fame. He has admitted to facing periods where the overwhelming spotlight nearly consumed him, and where substance abuse became a dangerous escape during the height of his career, when fans screamed his name from arenas across continents. He was simultaneously fighting private battles. And it reminds us that no matter how glamorous a life may appear, it can still carry heavy shadows. But the beauty of his story is not in the struggles themselves, but in his honesty about them, his willingness to open up and help others feel less alone, by showing that vulnerability is not weakness, but strength. And through that strength, Bieber has continuously reinvented himself with new music, heartfelt lyrics, and public reflections that demonstrate growth, healing, and an inspiring journey forward. Yet Justin's path is not one walked in isolation, because the celebrity world is filled with similar tales of rising from humble beginnings, facing storms, and emerging stronger. Think about Selena Gomez, who, much like Justin, began as a child star, adored by millions and adored for her charm on Disney Channel before transforming into a powerful singer, actress, and producer. Selena, too, has shared her health struggles, including lupus and mental health battles, and her openness has become a source of comfort for fans who see her as more than a performer, but as a friend walking through life's difficulties alongside them. And then you have Demi Lovato, whose journey has also been marked by incredible highs and heartbreaking lows, with their music serving as both a cry for help and an anthem of survival. Their courage to speak about addiction recovery and self-discovery mirrors the resilience found in so many public figures who turn pain into art and inspiration. And if we move across the world, we see similar arcs in stars, like K-pop sensations, BTS, whose members have openly discussed mental health pressures, the enormous weight of fame, and their dedication to connecting with fans in the most genuine ways possible, showing that despite language and cultural differences, the emotions at the heart of celebrity journeys are universal. While Hollywood often highlights the drama and spectacle, the deeper stories lie in resilience, charity, and the way these figures use their platforms to lift others up. Think about Rihanna, who not only conquered the music industry, but also built a fashion and beauty empire with Fenty, and used her influence to champion inclusivity and humanitarian work. Her dedication proves that celebrities are not just defined by the songs they sing or movies they star in, but by the causes they stand for and the legacies they create for generations to follow. As Justin Bieber opened up about his struggles with anxiety, depression, and the pressures of worldwide fame, it gave millions of fans the courage to also acknowledge their own battles, because when someone who has everything that many dream of admits that life is not always easy, it humanizes the concept of success and reveals that happiness is not measured by applause charts or luxury, but rather by inner peace. And balance his honesty about substance abuse, his time of feeling lost, and his steps toward therapy, faith, and healthier living show the resilience of a human spirit that refuses to be defined by mistakes alone. And in this way, his journey mirrors those of many other celebrities who have faced the double-edged sword of stardom. Lady Gaga, for instance, has been one of the most outspoken voices when it comes to mental health. She has turned her pain into power, not only through songs that resonate on a global level, like Born This Way and Shallow, but also through her Born This Way Foundation, which advocates for youth empowerment and emotional wellness. Her story, much like Justin's, reminds fans that being vulnerable is a form of bravery, and that the connection between an artist and their audience is strongest when honesty is at the core. And if we shift the spotlight to someone like Beyoncé, we see another narrative of persistence and discipline, because although Beyoncé is often portrayed as flawless, she has shared glimpses of the sacrifices, the discipline, and the challenges behind building a legacy that now stands as one of the most powerful in music history. She has dealt with criticism, personal trials, and the constant expectation of perfection. Yet she turned these into fuel. creating art that uplifts women and communities worldwide, showing that true icons are not those who never fall, but those who continue to rise and reinvent themselves just as Justin continues to do each time he releases music that feels more personal and reflective than the last. And when thinking about careers shaped by resilience, The Weeknd's journey also stands out because he emerged from a past shadowed by struggles with substance use and uncertainty into a global superstar redefining pop and R&B while still sharing hints of vulnerability in his lyrics and artistic persona. His story shows that pain can often birth creativity and transformation that inspires millions globally. And it connects back to Justin because both artists reveal how fame can magnify problems, but also provide a stage to heal and inspire others. And even outside of music, we see actors like Robert Downey Jr., whose career nearly collapsed under the weight of addiction and legal troubles only for him to rise back as Iron Man. One of the most iconic roles in cinematic history, his comeback remains one of Hollywood's most legendary tales, proving that redemption is always possible, no matter how dark the past may appear. These interwoven journeys remind us that celebrities, though larger than life, are still human beings, navigating emotions, struggles, and triumphs. And that is why their openness matters, because it not only entertains, but also teaches, heals, and motivates fans across every corner of the world. As Justin Bieber entered a new chapter of healing, he began to reframe his relationship with fame and with his fans, showing that vulnerability could coexist with strength. And in many ways, this opened a bridge between him and the millions who grew up alongside his music, because while early years were filled with paparazzi flashbulbs, screaming crowds, and an overwhelming sense of being watched at every moment, later years brought quieter revelations of gratitude for those same fans who stood by him through missteps and comebacks. His openness about struggles with mental health and his faith-centered marriage with Hailey gave a new texture to his image, and this is something many celebrities have experienced as they transition from youthful fame to mature artistry. Take Ariana Grande, for instance, whose rise from a beloved Nickelodeon star to one of the most powerful vocalists of her generation was not without tragedy and challenge. She lived through the heartbreaking Manchester Arena attack. And instead of retreating, she turned pain into resilience, creating the One Love Manchester benefit concert, a moment that cemented her as more than just a performer, but a source of unity, comfort, and hope for millions. And when we think about resilience, we cannot ignore Taylor Swift, whose career has been an intricate dance between creative reinvention, public controversies, and an unshakable bond. With her fan base, her decision to reclaim ownership of her music through re-recording her old albums became a global movement, redefining how artists stand up for their rights and inspiring countless others in the industry to value themselves beyond contracts and headlines. Much like Justin, Taylor has known what it feels like to be dissected by the public. But she has transformed that scrutiny into songs that resonate deeply, from fearless beginnings to the storytelling brilliance of folklore and Evermore, and the massive success of her Eras tour that unites generations under one stage shows how transparency, creativity, and authenticity are timeless currencies in stardom. And while these American icons dominate global conversations, it is equally important to look at international stars like K-pop sensations, BTS, who rose from humble beginnings to global domination with a message of self-love and resilience. Their unbreakable bond with their fans, known as ARMY, demonstrates the power of community in navigating fame and adversity. Because like Justin, they too have spoken candidly about mental health pressures and the responsibility of carrying millions of dreams on their shoulders, which makes their authenticity and humility shine brighter. And in connecting these threads, we see a repeating truth that whether it is Justin rebuilding after struggles, Ariana leading with compassion, Taylor fighting for creative control, or BTS breaking cultural barriers, the stories of celebrities are not simply about glittering stages or chart-topping hits, but about the deeply human journeys that inspire and remind fans that they too can rise after setbacks, love deeply, and live authentically. When we look at the continuing arc of Justin Bieber's story, we see a young man who turned adversity into growth, and his narrative fits into a larger tapestry of stars who have walked through storms and emerged stronger. Take Rihanna, who went from a teenager discovered in Barbados to one of the biggest musical and entrepreneurial forces in the world. Her journey shows that reinvention is not just an option, but a necessity. After conquering music with hit after hit, she reshaped the beauty industry with Fenty and changed fashion with her inclusive designs, while also giving back through her Clara Lionel Foundation, which has provided millions in aid for education and disaster relief. And then there is Beyoncé, whose story is a masterclass in discipline, creativity, and empowerment. From her days in Destiny's Child to her solo reign, she has continuously pushed the boundaries of music, visuals, and performance, And yet beneath the superstar exterior lies a woman who has spoken openly about the importance of family heritage and cultural pride. Her homecoming performance at Coachella was more than a concert. It was a cultural statement that honored Black excellence and inspired generations. And while these queens have carved legacies, Selena Gomez has built her own narrative rooted in vulnerability, strength, and advocacy. Her public relationship and eventual breakup with Justin Bieber became tabloid fuel, but Selena chose to rise above, turning personal struggles with lupus and mental health into platforms for change. She not only created music that reflects resilience, but also launched Rare Beauty, a brand focused on celebrating authenticity and funding mental health programs, showing that fame can be redirected into meaningful impact. Much like Justin, Selena represents how celebrities can transform pain into purpose. And globally, we cannot ignore the impact of stars like Shakira, whose career spans decades and continents, uniting people through music that blends cultures and languages. Her philanthropic work in education has given thousands of children in Colombia opportunities for a brighter future. Or Maluma, who represents a new wave of Latin artistry, balancing global stardom with a deep connection to his roots and community. And when we shift back to Hollywood, we see figures like Lady Gaga, whose rise was defined by eccentric fashion and bold statements, but whose evolution revealed a woman of immense empathy. She has fought for equality, created safe spaces for her fans through her Born This Way Foundation, and continues to challenge what it means to be a pop star. And this thread of resilience, artistry, and responsibility connects them all with Justin's own transparency about struggles. Becoming a mirror of the universal truth that stars, though adored from afar, are human beings navigating challenges in the public eye, and their ability to turn hardship into hope is what keeps fans invested, inspired, and loyal. Because every comeback, every reinvention, and every brave confession reminds the world that even in the harshest spotlight, authenticity will always shine through, as Justin Bieber continues to remind fans that vulnerability and honesty can coexist with fame. It becomes important to step back and see how similar stories unfold across the world. Because while Hollywood and American pop dominate headlines, international stars in Bollywood, Nollywood, K-pop, and Afrobeats are shaping cultures with equally powerful journeys. Take Priyanka Chopra Jonas, for example, who began as Miss World, transitioned into Bollywood superstardom, and then crossed over into Hollywood while using her platform to amplify South Asian representation. Her career mirrors Justin's in the sense that she too has navigated cultural scrutiny, intense media coverage, and the pressure of building a global identity. Yet her resilience and focus on philanthropy through education and equality make her journey inspiring to millions across continents. Then we have Shah Rukh Khan, known as the King of Bollywood, whose rise from humble beginnings in Delhi to becoming one of the biggest film stars in history shows the same arc of hard work and dedication that fans admire in Justin. While Justin battled through the chaos of young fame, Shah Rukh navigated rejection and struggle before building an empire rooted in love, family, and storytelling. And when we look to Africa, we see figures like Burna Boy, Wizkid, and Davido, whose Afrobeats revolution has taken the world by storm, blending tradition with modernity and giving global audiences fresh rhythms. Their journeys echo Justin's message that authenticity can travel across borders and connect people in unexpected ways. Burna Boy, for instance, openly discusses identity, resilience, and pride in African culture, much like Justin, who openly shared his faith and mental health journey, making fans feel connected on a deeper level. And over in Korea, BTS, Blackpink, and other K-pop groups continue to shatter global barriers, proving that language and geography cannot limit the power of music. Just as Justin once faced skepticism when shifting his sound from teen pop to R&B-inspired tracks, these artists too defy expectations, carving their own space while leaning on the love of their fandoms. And if we travel further into Latin America, the journey of artists like Bad Bunny is impossible to ignore, because he has transformed the reggaeton and trap landscape into a movement that champions individuality, inclusivity, and cultural pride, showing that much like Justin's brave openness with his struggles, being unapologetically yourself is the greatest power. And through all these stories, we see a common thread, whether it is Justin navigating mental health, Priyanka breaking global barriers, Shah Rukh becoming a symbol of perseverance, Burna Boy embodying African excellence, or Bad Bunny reshaping Latin music. They all demonstrate that fame, while dazzling, is not the destination. It is a platform, a stage where authenticity, courage, and generosity create legacies that inspire generations around the world, as the journey of Justin Bieber intertwines with countless stars across the globe. We cannot overlook the impact of crossover icons. who have each reshaped music and culture in their own way. And one of the closest parallels comes from Drake, who, like Justin, transitioned from youthful beginnings into a dominant global force. Drake's career is a testament to reinvention, consistency, and vulnerability in storytelling. His ability to blur the lines between rap, R&B, and pop mirrors Justin's willingness to take risks musically and emotionally. Both artists speak to universal themes of love, heartbreak, success, and doubt, and their collaborations over the years remind fans of the creative magic that happens when stars embrace authenticity and unity. And then we look to The Weeknd, whose mysterious persona and hauntingly powerful music took him from Toronto mixtape obscurity to global headliner status with Super Bowl halftime performances and record-breaking hits. His career highlights how darkness and vulnerability can transform into strength, much like Justin's openness about his mental health struggles and how those confessions become anthems of resilience for fans. And when we shift to younger icons like Billie Eilish, we see how authenticity at an early age can shape a new generation of artistry. Billie's bold fashion choices, genre-bending sound, and honest conversations about anxiety, fame, and individuality position her as a mirror to Justin's own teen star trajectory, except in an era where social media magnifies every step. And through her honesty, she too has built unshakable trust with fans, and to fully appreciate the path Justin and these stars walk, we must acknowledge the legendary foundations laid by icons like Michael Jackson, whose unparalleled talent set the standard for global pop stardom and whose struggles with scrutiny and personal battles echo the challenges Justin faced growing up under a magnifying glass. And then there is Whitney Houston, whose voice remains unmatched and whose life was both inspirational and tragic. A reminder that fame is a double-edged sword filled with adoration, but also pressure that can weigh heavily on the human spirit. And connecting these figures to Justin's journey shows us that while eras change and sounds evolve, the essence of celebrity remains rooted in the ability to connect, inspire, and endure through challenges. What fans take away from Drake's lyrical honesty, The Weeknd's emotional depth, Billie Eilish's fearless individuality, Michael's revolutionary artistry, and Whitney's timeless voice is the same lesson that Justin himself continues to embody, that greatness is not measured by perfection, but by the courage to keep creating, sharing, and evolving, despite the obstacles placed in one's path.